Episode 78. So Vernon is on the phone and he's going off on someone about how incompetent they are for allowing Kenny to come back to Fairmount. And I wonder who this mystery person is. For some reason, I think it's the chief. I truly do. Next, Kenny gives Martin his keys, and Martin asks Kenny, is he who he think he is? And then Kenny goes on to tell him he's there to make him pay for his sins. And I want to know, what's his sins? What did Martin do? That's what all of us want to know. Next, Vanessa tells Dr. McBride about a transaction she's doing with Joey. And Dr. McBride goes on to tell her to leave the bedroom as she found it. I've said it before in earlier episodes. I do not understand why these two are still married. I really don't. The kids are grown. They really need to part ways, because when it gets to hurling insults like that to each other, because he's basically calling her a slut. So why are you still with her? Vanessa goes on to ask him, why did he pretend he was okay with going into business with Joey? And I mean, that's a stupid question to ask. She knows why. He didn't have another choice. I mean, he owes the man, $250,000? What else is he supposed to do unless he leaves town? Next, Nicole goes by Ted's office to talk about revising their living trust, and to tell him that he doesn't need to send any more flowers. So I'm guessing she's still mad, but I don't know. Maybe she can't get past how ratchet Leslie is, because she always, what she recently told Danny about, what did she say? Oh, she told Mona that Leslie wasn't, in so many words, Leslie wasn't on her level. Why did Ted pick someone like her? And we know what she was saying. So maybe that's why she can't get past it, because Miss Bougie Nicole just doesn't understand why Mr. Ted, Dr. Richardson, was slumming it with the likes of Leslie. Next, Smitty goes to the police station to tell Jacob he needs to talk to him about a dirty cop, and the chief is hanging close by, eyeing them and listening to every word Smitty is saying. So Smitty better watch his back. Next, Martin asks Kenny how much is it going to take to make him disappear, and Kenny tells him he has no idea how it feels to have 2 years flushed down the toilet. And see, when he says that, what does he mean? He didn't go to, I don't think so, that he went to jail. So is he saying that he was banished from Fairmount for 2 years? Or, I don't know. So Kenny goes on to say that Martin is black royalty and he can get away with anything. And so we all know he's talking about Martin. And then Kenny tells Martin that he hates him and everything he stands for. And then he says that if his brother was there, he would feel the same, and he's there to finish what Martin started. So what did Martin start? And I wonder, is Martin the reason why Kenny's brother is dead? This is all so confusing. And Kenny tells him to wait for it because it's coming. So it's obvious that Kenny has a vendetta against Martin. And so now we're wondering, did Martin have something to do with the brother's death? Was it a car accident? What the hell happened? Next, Jacob asks Smitty, is he asking for his help regarding the dirty cop? And Smitty tells him they need to talk somewhere else, and you too late, Smitty, because the chief done already peeped you out and heard everything he said. So it's too late for that. And so then the chief goes on to call someone, which is probably Detective Malone, and tell him to meet at the usual spot. Next, Dr. McBride tells Vanessa he can't believe she would think he would be okay with her breaking the law. Then he goes on to say, what is it about Joey that excites her? And see, that's what he's mad about. He ain't mad about her breaking the law. He's mad that she's excited about Joey. And that's probably what the excitement she had for him a long time ago. And so now he sees that in her in regards to Joey, and he's jealous. So again, like I said, I can answer that question. Joey ain't him. That's what she sees in him. He's exciting because she's never had him before. So then Dr. McBride goes on to say, because of Joey being dangerous, that's what turns her on. Of course it does. Next, Ted asks Nicole to let him move back in, and he says that they can sleep in separate rooms, and he apologizes for the affair again, and Nicole says that their whole relationship was a lie. And I'm telling you, she gets so dramatic. It's not even that serious. So then Nicole tells Ted she does miss him. However, she says that imagining what he did with Cray Cray is still fresh. And so Nicole goes on to say, if she let him come back, it's like inviting Leslie in their home. See? And that's what I said. The issue is that Nicole thinks, well, she feels that Leslie is so beneath her that it's disgusting to her that Ted left with Leslie and had a baby by her. She's embarrassed. That's what it is. Nicole goes on to tell Ted that she does miss him, but just imagining him with Leslie is still fresh in her mind. And so if she lets him come back to their home, it's like inviting Leslie in. And Ted tells her they can survive Leslie. Yeah, they can, but I don't know. Nicole's going to have to get over this elitist attitude that she has of basically this classism between feeling like Leslie is beneath her. I think once she gets over that, if she does, then she can open the door back to Ted again. But I don't know. Maybe it's just too deep in her. Who knows? Next, Smitty and Jacob go to Orphe Jean's, and Smitty tells Jacob about the questionable deposits in Detective Malone's bank account. And Jacob flashes back to when he saw Joey give Detective Malone an envelope of money. And so Jacob says that he asked his dad, and his dad told him that Detective Malone was part of a sting operation. So Smitty tells Jacob to test his instincts. And Jacob says to Smitty, are you trying to tell me that my father, the chief, lied in my face? And basically, yeah, that's what he's telling him. He lied in his face. That's exactly what the chief did. I think Jacob's issue is he's been putting his dad on a pedestal because of his dad's accomplishments in being the chief, that he sees his dad almost as this superhero, and in his mind, he can't imagine that his father is just a regular person who has flaws. But he will see. Next, Detective Malone tells the chief he got an alert from his bank that someone had access to his account, but nothing was taken. So he says he knows who did it, the reporter, talking about Smitty. And the chief tells Detective Malone he overheard Smitty telling Jacob about a cop who was on the tape. So Detective Malone says that, so he's assuming that Smitty knows about the it wasn't a quarter, it was $500,000 that Detective Malone got 2 years ago. So Joey walks in and says, and he knows about the 5,000 I gave you a couple of months ago. So we all know Joey all in that. But my question is, who gave Detective Malone the $500,000? Because Joey didn't say that he gave him that. He just said that he gave him the 5,000. So I think Vernon gave him that 500,000. And for whatever his role was in this whole issue with Martin. So anyway, we'll eventually find out. Next, Vernon tells Martin it's been confirmed that nightmare from 2 years ago has come back to haunt them. And so Vernon asks, what did Kenny tell him? And Martin says he said he should think of him as the avenging angel. And Vernon says Kenny was the one who started what happened on the road that night. So now I'm starting to think, was this some type of road rage that went wrong or resulted in murder, which means the murder of Kenny's brother? Well, I don't want to say murder, but the death of Kenny's brother. I don't know. That's what it seems like it's coming to. And so Vernon says if anyone should declare vengeance, it should be them. And Martin goes on to say Kenny said he hated their kind. And I was like, whoa, so Kenny ass is a racist. What the hell you mean by their kind? It's very obvious that Kenny don't like black people, which is amazing to me because where they're at, there's nothing but black people. So maybe Kenny needs to find somewhere else to go. Kenny went on to tell him that he resented him for being an influential. Well, he resented the Duprees for being an influential, successful black family. Yeah, it's quite obvious. And Martin tells Vernon that hatred in Kenny's voice says he wants to destroy them, and Vernon says he won't let him. Next, Dr. McBride warns Vanessa that Joey is going to hold her to any deal she makes with him, and Dr. McBride knows that because that's why he's in the trouble he's in, because Joey holding him for every dollar and cent. So he goes on to say that she's on a road to disaster, and when everything's over, he's done with everything. And he should be, because he's the reason why why she's in that mess as well as him. And she just got to the point where she likes it. But if he never would have fell for the trap, things would have been a lot different. And he wouldn't have to worry about Joey so entwined into his life. Next, Vernon tells Martin that Kenny has given them time to prepare and that he thinks he holds all the cards, but he's sorely mistaken. And we shall see. Next, Joey tells Detective Malone and the chief they took a gamble 2 years ago and now they have to wait to see how it turns out. And the chief says he can talk to his son, and he was able to get to Jacob once before to get the scent off Detective Malone, so maybe he could do it again. And I think the chief is wrong because he doesn't know his son very well. He should know that once the battery pack is put into Jacob back, once that battery pack is on his back, ain't no turning back. Jacob's going to go and find out what happened. He's not going to stop. And he's not going to go for a little excuse. No, his dad's excuse this time. He's going to be looking at him a lot differently. Next, Smitty asks Jacob, does he think his dad knows about Detective Malone? And Jacob says that his dad taught him how to be on the straight and narrow, and that there's no way he could be involved. And again, you're wrong, Jacob. You're wrong. Next, Vernon tells Martin to let him handle Kenny, and he doesn't want him involved. He tells him to continue his daily routine and avoid the country club. So Vernon also tells him that come straight to him if Kenny approaches him. That damn Kenny, his little racist, but goodness gracious. Well, we're even more intrigued to find out what happened that night. I'm starting to think maybe racist Kenny started something with Martin and it just went wrong. And it went wrong, ending up in Kenny's brother's death. That's what I'm starting to think. Like a road rage incident that Kenny and his brother confronted Martin, and maybe Martin retaliated, and somehow Kenny's brother was killed, and so now Kenny's upset, and Vernon came and paid off everybody, Detective Malone and the chief, not to say anything because they didn't want Martin to have a record, and then they paid Kenny off to be quiet about it. That's what it sounds like is what happened. Next, Joey tells Vanessa boundaries have to be established between them, and that there are questions that shouldn't be asked and things they don't know about each other. So Vanessa says she's the type that needs to know everything, and that's your problem. He's a mobster that is entwined into the underworld. Do you actually think that he's going to tell you every shady dealing that he does? Like, she's acting like she's wifey or somebody. You're not his wife. You're Dr. McBride's, and you're doing a lousy job at being his wife. So Joey tells her if he exposed her to what he did on a daily basis, she couldn't handle it. And she probably couldn't. She want to act like gangsta boo, and she knows she ain't about that life. Not for real. Next, Vernon calls someone and tells them he's back. And again, I'm thinking this is probably the chief. And that ends the episode.